Check the mic and make sure it sound right.
You can't do the job if 8 people, you have 94% of, or 96% of your entire conference, but 8 people can partner with the whole other side. How do you govern? And for them to make a motion on me because I made a decision for the country that they agreed with, but they choose to do the other, that becomes a problem. Yes.
On this vote, the yeas are 216, the nays are 210. The resolution is adopted. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. The office of Speaker of the House of the United States House of Representatives is hereby declared vacant.
Hi, I'm DK Will, and this is DK Will Talk About It. If you've been with me for any period of time, you know that I am politically neutral. I do not take a stand on the right or the left or even in the middle. I'm neutral. That means I don't voice my opinion on political affairs. However, what you just saw was a clip of something that is of historical value, and along with the things I've discussed as topics on this channel, I'm going to show that it may have application in a totally different arena. As I've said many times, don't worry about the narratives because they're there for your viewing pleasure if you're caught up into that scene. But McCarthy was ousted. He was the Speaker of the House. It poses the question who will be running next. But the article, speaks out and says that he made history Tuesday after a handful of conservative hardliners and Democratic lawmakers ousted him from the top leadership post in the chamber. Hardliners, that's opinionated. I'm just reading. His removal after 269 days on the job raises multiple questions, such as who will take his spot now that the seat is vacant and whether the House will be able to resume its normal duties. The fallout comes days after a stopgap measure was passed in the House and Senate to temporarily fund the government until mid-November, when other potential shutdown looms. Then it goes on to talk about the looming questions, and we did touch on that potential shutdown in our previous Iraqi dinar videos, and how it didn't happen. It was supposed to be a significant point that didn't happen, and now it's been pushed down the road till the 17th. And then it talks about some of the lingering questions and why he was ousted and so on and so forth. That becomes narrative, folks, because that will be basically whatever this USA Today wants to put as the narratives as to why. I'll end it with the person who initiated saying as to why. But something else also happened, and I'm sure all of us who are and have cell phones know that this happened. The National Alert. This is a test of the National Wireless Emergency Alert System. The purpose is to maintain and improve alert and warning capabilities at the federal, state, local, tribal, and territorial levels and to evaluate the nation's public alert and warning capabilities. No action is required by the public. So at the same time that the vacation of the Speaker of the House position occurs, we also have a test of the National Emergency Alert System. Why am I tying the two together? Well, I'll show you why. But however, before I go on, I'm going to say something that I thought was amusing. Mine came in Spanish on the first page, and I had to hit page 2 to see it in English. And then the second one came a little bit later, and it was all in Spanish. So somewhere along the line, somebody thinks I speak Spanish, and I just jokingly said to a group of friends of mine that me and mine are doomed unless we're hanging out with our Spanish-speaking friends, because we're not going to know what the message is. Fortunately, I don't rely on man, but I do want to be alert when time is coming to be alert, and it's coming. But why am I tying this with McCarthy? Well, I'll show you why. A couple years ago, I did a video about Gesara and Nasara, should we put faith in them? And you can see there, it says it was 2 years ago that I did it. Just a quick aside, though, I noticed that when I went to this link here, Gesara explained in great detail from April 2021. When I clicked on this link, that site was up for sale, so I couldn't use that site anymore. Anon.news was gone. However, the one that I really was searching for was still available, and it's this one here. What is Gesara? And the reason I'm tying it in with the FEMA alerts, and the reason I'm tying it in with the McCarthy is right down here. Now I'm gonna just skip to the point here. I'm trying to just get a quick video out on this. Gesara stands for the Global Economic Security and Reformation Act. Of course, there's a NESARA, which is a national version of it. It talks about what the following 3 items must be accomplished straight away. I have it here on the screen. You can pause and you can read it if you choose, because that's not the meat of the matter that I'm covering in this event here. And also, it tells why it's necessary. Now, I might have to stretch your brain a little bit to accept and believe some of the things it says, but see, that's up to you. But what I do know is what might Gesara manifest, and it says these are 25 specific items, but dozens more are to be expected. But you'll notice it says here, remove USA Incorporated administration officials and all members of the U.S. Congress from their positions due to their continuous unconstitutional actions. That's the second item. The third item, it says the forces the USA Incorporated's president, the vice president, and cabinet members, and all members of Congress to leave their office. Interesting. Somebody was told to leave their office. I'll touch on that here quickly. And then it says suspends all elections everywhere in the world at all sovereign levels of government. Okay, so I'm going to stop there because I could go on and on and on with that, which applies to the United States. Well, I'll do the next one. It says that allows a new Republic of the United States appointees to temporarily govern the country's affairs until fair and legal elections can be held. Okay, and I've said many times that it's all a conspiracy theory until it's true. And of course, these are some pretty highly important and exorbitant reactions that are required. But the bottom line is it's happening. It is happening. And I will speak on that a little bit more here by going to this page. And it's the United States federal government's continuity of operations page. And in the continuity of operations for the United States government, without us having a complete social studies and a history lesson, the continuity of government as defined in this plan has a formal line of succession of the presidency since 1792. And this runs from the vice president, of course you have the president's gone, so now it's the vice president, to the Speaker of the House, President pro tempore of the Senate, and then through the cabinet secretaries in a sequence specified by Congress. Now keep that very much in mind, because if, let's say, with all the things that are developing around the United States government, such as something that is in harmony with the Gesara that I just mentioned, it says forces all members of Congress to leave the office. Well, we just saw McCarthy was forced to leave his office. He wasn't alone, though. Did you know that? Did you know that after this development, that the prior Speaker of the House was also asked to vacate her Capitol office? You can see it's dated October 4th, 2023. That's today's date. But Nancy Pelosi says the interim House Speaker, who is McHenry right now, I believe, asked her to vacate her Capitol office. So there's some office vacations going on here, is there not? And I don't mean those of the leisurely type. When you read portions of this article, you can see the lack of leisure, because it goes on to say that in a statement shared with NPR, Pelosi, the Democrat from California, said she was asked to leave her space immediately. Okay, sounds like people are getting a bit under the gun on time to me, to not extend a courtesy. Now, I don't have a position on her or them. I mean, if he's been the speaker for 269 days, I'm wondering why another prior speaker still has an office 269 days later, to be honest with you. But the Speaker pro tempore is going to reassign H-132 for Speaker office use. Please vacate the space tomorrow. The room will be rekeyed. That's the email that was sent to the prior Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, telling her, you ain't got to go home, but you got to get up out of here. So despite my neutral position on the politics of any nation, quite honestly, but I live in the United States, I'm fully aware that, one side is going after Donald Trump, and then the other side is going after the crimes and behaviors of Joe Biden and his son Hunter, and then there's the Vice President Harris. And so you have to wonder if they are successful at the current president, who is Biden, and he for some reason is removed from office, or he's kind of falling apart physically, he dies, and then it goes to Harris, but then there's confirmation of a rigged election in any case, and so that invalidates any type of office there, and now the Speaker of the House is also gone, and you can see where we're getting into the continuity of the operations and the continuity of the government plan. And that's why something like this comes into play. Because when you consider this continuity plan, you can see that the measures included construction of underground facilities such as Mount Weather, a putatively nuclear weapon-proof facility in a hollowed-out mountain in northeastern Virginia, and Raven Rock, mountain complex near Camp David in Maryland. I don't care about the public. It says here, other provisions of the plan. I do care about the public, but I'm trying to show the continuity of government. Don't misunderstand me. I'm thinking and speaking at the same time, and sometimes it's putting a challenge on me. Other provisions of the plan include executive orders designating certain government officials to assume cabinet and other executive branch positions and carry out the responsibilities of the position if the primary office holders are killed. Okay, now see, that's getting on into the succession of government, is where I've already touched, in the line of succession being from the president to the vice president to the Speaker of the House. Okay, so we've already wiped out some of those offices in harmony with the Gesara plan, have we not? But here's the other part up here. It says here, 40 specific certain requirements for continuity plan development, including the requirement that all federal executive branch departments and agencies develop an integrated overlapping continuity capability that supports the 8 national essential functions, which I haven't looked that up yet, described in the document. But it did not hesitate to say that the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, the one who sent us those signals today, provides guidance to the private sector for business continuity planning purposes. FEMA is a connection to us. Now I do care about the public, to the private sector. And here, on the same day as they vacate one of the positions, FEMA tests their ability to communicate with us. And so it looks to me like we're heading into a place where the United States government is being disrupted. The question is it being disrupted in harmony with this, and everything else is a bunch of narratives that will satisfy the primarily unaware and unattentive public as to what's going on, so they easily accept the explanations? Because there's another part to it that starts leaning into Bible prophecy. Now, I know a lot of people run off by Bible prophecy. That's on you. But the Bible promises in Daniel that Jesus will come and crush and put an end to all other kingdoms. And I told y'all that's the reason I don't vote, because of that kingdom, right? But notice what it says here. It says it eliminates all states of emergency, thus declaring peace for every land abiding by Gesara, and it's the alliance, whatever that means. If we found ourselves without a president, and without a vice president, and without a Speaker of the House in the United States, doesn't that constitute a state of emergency where other factions begin to assume authority and control? Now, I'm not going to get carried away, but I know at one point FEMA was buying a whole bunch of 5 and 6 person coffins for some reason. And I also know, more importantly, something about this statement right here, thus declaring peace. Of course, we all want peace. But did you know this? Did you know, as much as we want peace, that that's just another sign of the time of the end for this system of things? That a declaration of peace is spoken of in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 3. And it says, whenever it is that they are saying peace and security, then sudden destruction is to be instantly on them. Kind of like Pelosi, get out of your office. Instant. Just like the birth pains on a pregnant woman, and they will by no means escape. Most people don't know that. You do now if you're watching this video. But did you already know that? So when we read the Tenants of Gara and we get to this one here where it eliminates the states of emergencies that seem to be impending, it says, thus declaring peace for every land, abiding by Gesara in its alliance. It starts to take on a whole new meaning as to the origin of everything. Because, yeah, if you're political, this can all sound good to you, right? What if I went back up here and read to you where it starts talking about a mass human disclosure of both non-humanoid extraterrestrial life in existence on the surface of this planet and throughout our shared galaxy? What if that's some type of part of this so-called Gesara? How about number 1, where it says the global and public proclamation of a global jubilee or debt forgiveness and universal reset of planetary Earth, humanity, back to a universal system of common governance and transparent good standing with other member beings of the Galactic Federation? What if it starts shooting off all there? Do you still feel like Gesara is a good thing or a bad thing? Or do you still think about 1 Thessalonians when they start declaring peace? Did you know that the UN has a plan to restore international peace and security? Did it say peace and security? Isn't it interesting that they would choose those exact words? But did you know the UN has a plan to restore international peace and security? Will it work? And if you look up there on the top, you see that it says World Economic Forum. Can you see how all of this is tying together, folks? Because didn't we just talk about debt forgiveness? Haven't we been talking about new monetary systems? It's all pretty complicated, folks. But the question this comes to mind is, who do you trust? Do you trust the UN when they start rolling out the tanks? Is that how you restore peace? Through weapons of war? Does that make any sense to anybody? That if you don't go along with their plan for peace, that you become the enemy? As they spread their authority and the nations breathe more power into them? Do you trust the UN for that declaration of peace? Or when all the political officials and politicians are removed, do you put your security, your peace and security in the land of the homeland security? Are they the ones that you trust, or is it the FEMA who sent us that signal today because they are a branch in cooperation with the Department of Homeland Security? Can you see now, folks, why tying in this alert system with this event all seem to tie together with this event here, where it tells you point blank that the things we see happening are going to happen? If that's the case, then are we going to see this happen? And if we're going to see this happen, are we also going to see this happen? because that would be a time to rejoice. And that would be someone to trust when he comes to establish his kingdom. Don't you agree? And I don't know if you are aware of it or not, but trust is a major issue on why he was removed in the first place, because they don't even trust each other. So if the people who are supposed to be in authority don't trust each other, and the people who are in authority are going to be dropping like flies, removed from office, and things of that nature, who do you trust? Because they certainly don't trust each other.
We got to move to the next step. We are not at the end of this process, okay? At most, we're approaching halftime. We've got to be able to assemble a governing coalition. We have to build from a place of trust. The reason Kevin McCarthy went down today is because nobody trusts Kevin McCarthy.
Nobody trusts Kevin McCarthy. Well, who can you trust? They have to hurry up and form a coalition government? Hasn't the United States been a government for over 2 centuries? Is it all starting to come together in your mind, folks, that this might be just a little bigger than what we initially think? So there's a pretty good reason for my neutrality, but neutral does not mean blind. And as you can see there, that same scripture about the peace and security went on to say, but you, brothers, you are not in darkness, so that that day should overtake you as it would thieves. Thieves come in the middle of the night unexpectedly, or at least unexpectedly nowadays, even in daylight. It goes on to say, for you are all sons of light and sons of day. We belong neither to night nor to darkness. And so, no, I don't belong to any political side because, as far as I know, the whole world is lying in the power of the wicked one. But I do see where this Gesara plan continues to be unfolded. I don't look at Gesara and Gesara as the solution to mankind's problems. I made that pretty clear. I believe in what we pray for. Our Father in the heavens, let your name be sanctified. Let your kingdom come. If a kingdom comes, there must be a king, right? There is. And like I said, I'll draw your attention to that. I'm not the Savior. But I also pay close attention to the events as they occur. And I see events occurring that prompt me to say to my audience, don't carry on in the darkness. Open your eyes and see what's going on. Because it will come on in a hurry, just like Pelosi, get out of your office. We may find ourselves having to get out of somewhere, run from somewhere. But it's going to be too late to get ready when it comes. The time to get ready is now. And how do you get ready? Well, first you choose the winning side. Those sides can't trust each other. So if you chose one of them, you probably chose a loser. I'm sorry, I hurt your feelings. But I can say that because I know just where I started this video at. The Bible promises that he will set up a kingdom that will not be brought to ruin. In Daniel chapter 2, verse 44, and it will crush and put an end to all other kingdoms, including the UN, the United Nations, the solution for world peace. It's going to happen. And so that's the winning side. So when we all pray, let your kingdom come, I don't know if it's just allegory in your brain, but it's actually a fact. We are praying for that kingdom to come on the earth as it is in heaven. So then when they start spitting out extraterrestrial life, don't lose your footing. That's going to happen too, as we saw in Gesara. Is there extraterrestrial life? Or is it, like they said, residing right on the earth with us? I guess we'll have to wait for another book to be opened. But that's another story that I'll hint on again. I do have a little knowledge about that. But for now, I'm talking about this. And I've talked about it. Have a wonderful day.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right.